The next thing we'll be covering are some of the options that you have with your pages in the Workbench. To begin with the page options, you can click on the checkbox to the left-hand side of the page you wish to work with. Once you click that checkbox, you will notice a toolbar opened up in the blue area directly above. What we're going to do is go over each one of these items in the toolbar and talk about what they do. The first button in the toolbar is your per page option. What you can do here is control the amount of pages that will show in your list view. Please note that it always defaults to 10, and you need to change this every time you come into the page list if you wish to view more items. Alternatively, you also have previous and next buttons at the bottom of your page list, should you wish to move through the list. The next button in the toolbar is an Add button. This gives you the ability to add a brand new page to your website, which we will be demonstrating in a little while. The next button in the toolbar is the Edit button. By clicking this Edit button, it will open up the selected page in a new tab in your browser. You will notice that the iCreate editor is already open, which means you can now go make changes to the content on this page. The next button in the toolbar is the HTML source code button. This button isn't typically used by clients to change anything on the page, as most of the changes you wish to make can be done directly through the iCreate editor. Next, we'll talk about the Properties button. In here, you will see all of the properties pertaining to the page that you have selected. You will see things such as the language of the page, the owner of the page, the name of the page. Underneath that section, you will see an area for a page description, which is a brief description of the information that will be found on this page. The page description is directly linked to your SEO. If somebody does a Google search on your page, this is the blurb that will show up underneath the Google hit. If you do not have a page description on your page, Google will pull the first few lines of content from your page. Moving over to the social media image URL field, this area gives you the ability to upload an image that you wish to go along with your social media sharing. If you do not have an image in here and somebody shares this page on their social media, it will automatically pull in your logo. So as this is not a required field, it is something extra you can do to go along with your social media sharing. The file name of your page will be automatically populated when you first create the page. The file name should never have to be changed after that point. The internal notes section is an area for iCreate users to leave notes on the page. These notes are not visible to the public and are only visible to other iCreate users who go into the page properties to read these notes. Moving along the options in the page toolbar, the next button we're going to look at is the Publish button. This is that magic button that pushes all of your changes that you've made in the preview version of your page out to the public. We will look at the Publish button in a lot more detail later on in this module. Next, we have the red Delete button. By clicking this button, you will be deleting the selected page from your website. When you press the Delete button, it will ask you if you're sure you want to delete the selected pages. If you accidentally delete a page from your website, the only way to recover that page is to contact eSolutions. The sooner you contact eSolutions, the easier it will be for us to recover your page. The History dropdown contains a lot of information about the history of the changes and publishes that have been made on the selected page. The first option in the History dropdown is Page Changes. Every change you make to a page's content counts as a revision. And what you can do in this window is compare the different revisions. So for example, I can drop down the first list and say I would like to compare revision 1 to revision 2. I would then click the compare button, and iCreate will actually summarize the changes that were made between those two revisions. In the change list on the left-hand side, iCreate will identify content that has been removed, content that has been changed, and content that has been added. It will highlight any removed content in red, changed content in orange, and added content in green. In this example, you can see on the left-hand side that there was content removed from this page. If I scroll down, it will actually show me what content was removed by highlighting it in red and also putting a stroke through the content. The next option in the History dropdown is Page History. Inside of the page history, it will list all of the revisions that have been made to the page. It'll tell you who updated the page and what date they updated the page. Another thing you can do in this list is actually go back to a previous revision, and under the Options dropdown, you can preview that revision, or you can make that revision the current version on your website. The last option in the History dropdown is the Publish History. What you'll see in the Publish History is, again, the list of all of the various revisions on the page, except this will show you whether or not that revision was published, who published it, and what date they published it on. And it will also give you the option to click and take a look at the preview of that page. The email button will open up a field that will allow you to enter in someone's email address. What will happen is iCreate will send a preview link to the selected page to the recipient. This is a great tool if you would wish to send the preview version of your page to someone who might not be an iCreate user, to give them the ability to review the edits or the content that you have added to a page.